BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
A significant clash is unfolding in the Blue Mountains, where the Min's government's decision to evict long-standing community groups from a historic site, Clairvaux, has drawn fierce condemnation. The state government has issued threats to treat First Nations and environmental organizations as trespassers if they continue to utilize a historic home in the Blue Mountains, a property once notorious as a house of horrors but later transformed into a vital community hub. This hardline stance has been met with outrage, particularly from a former Labor MP, Bob Debus, who served in both state and federal capacities and is a respected figure within the party. Debus has branded the Min's government's actions as unethical and ignorant, specifically criticizing the enforcement of the eviction of these groups from Clairvaux and Katoomba. The NSW government has been systematically removing established tenants from Clairvaux over the past several years. In a recent development, responsibility for the property was transferred from the Department of Communities and Justice to the Department of Land and Property, an agency tasked with divesting surplus government assets and selling them to the private sector. This shift in management precipitated the immediate crisis. A planned meeting of the former resident groups was compelled to relocate off-site this past Saturday, after organizers were explicitly informed that holding the gathering at Clairvaux would be considered trespassing. The gravity of the government's position was underscored on Friday, when a lawyer representing the Justice Department and the Families and Communities Minister sent an email, a copy of which has been viewed, to one of the community groups. The correspondence pointedly noted that neither DCJ nor the current owner, PDNSW, have authorized any such meeting, and attendees may well be considered trespassers in response to a proposed on-site public gathering. This stark warning has ignited alarm among those who have dedicated years to nurturing Clairvaux as a place of gathering and cultural significance. The former NSW Attorney General, Finance, and Environment Minister, Bob Debus, who also held the federal position of Home Affairs Minister under the Rudd government, asserted that the eviction and the subsequent threat of trespass demonstrate a profound lack of understanding from the bureaucracy regarding the site's crucial historical importance. He told The Guardian, the transfer of land and then the subsequent harsh attitude, threatening these people who've been there for years. For heaven's sake, it's just not ethical. Debus further emphasized his personal involvement, stating, they have legitimately occupied buildings on that site under lease or license for more than 25 years. And I know that's the case because I helped negotiate the original arrangements sometime in the mid-1990s. The historical trajectory of Clairvaux is a deeply layered narrative. It initially served as a boarding school for the De La Salle brothers' St. Bernard's College in the late 1930s. Following the college's closure in 1966, the state government repurposed the site into a boys' home, which tragically gained notoriety as a house of horrors. Former residents of Clairvaux were later deemed eligible for the National Redress Scheme, a testament to the profound injustices that occurred within its walls. Following the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Abuse, after the government shuttered this institution in 1990, the Katoomba Neighborhood Center stepped in, revitalizing the site and establishing it as the Clairvaux Community Center. In recent years, Clairvaux has been a vital home for a diverse array of organizations, including the Blue Mountains Aboriginal Culture and Resource Center, the Gundungurra Tribal Council, the Arts Council, Gateway Family Services, and the Wild Plant Rescue Service. Currently, only the Wild Plant Rescue Service remains on site, actively resisting the eviction notice. The broader campaign to preserve Clairvaux for community use involves prominent figures such as First Nations elders Carol Cooper and Pat Field, and Mary Waterford, one of the original founders of the community center in the 1990s. These individuals view the potential sale of the land as a betrayal of its long-standing legacy as a cultural and community anchor. Genevieve Murray, a spokesperson for the campaign to save Clairvaux, articulated the deep significance of the land for both the Blue Mountains community and its traditional custodians, who have gathered there for millennia. She stated, in a prepared statement, to be labeled trespassers on their own land is not only unjust, It's a betrayal of the trust and dialogue we believed we had with the department. Murray also highlighted the lack of transparency and consultation surrounding the government's decision to transfer the property to a new department, noting that a request made in April for an interim agreement on a moratorium on the land's sale had been completely disregarded. A spokesperson for the Department of Communities and Justice confirmed that the decommissioning process at Clairvaux is ongoing and that the site was indeed transferred to Property and Development NSW last month. The spokesperson explained that the site must be vacated due to a 2020 audit that identified significant safety, disrepair, compliance, and extreme bushfire zone issues, rendering it unfit for its current use. The cost of necessary upgrades was deemed prohibitive. In a statement, the spokesperson added, "In relation to items that remain on site, DCJ is engaging with appropriate cultural and heritage experts to establish a transparent process with local elders and traditional owners. This will ensure respectful engagement with the local Aboriginal community and the appropriate management and care of any items of potential cultural significance." Despite these assurances, Mary Waterford expressed the community's hope that the Minns government might consider repurposing Clairvaux for social housing. She indicated that the Blue Mountains Community Land Trust has a viable proposal to transform the site into affordable housing, with a particular focus on serving local Aboriginal people. This plea comes amidst a broader context highlighted by recent reports, which indicate that over two-thirds of NSW public land identified as suitable for housing under the Minns government's statewide property audit has already been sold to private developers. Alarmingly, many of these sales have proceeded without any stipulations for the inclusion of social or affordable housing components, raising concerns about the future of accessible housing in the state. The situation at Clairvaux thus represents a microcosm of wider anxieties surrounding the prioritization of community needs versus private development on public land in New South Wales. The passionate defense of Clairvaux by its long-term occupants and their supporters underscores the deep emotional and cultural ties to this historic site, and their determination to prevent its transformation into a private asset at the expense of community heritage. The former MP's strong rebuke serves as a powerful indictment of the government's approach, questioning its ethical compass and its understanding of the profound significance of such places to the fabric of regional Australia. The outcome of this dispute will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications, not only for the groups directly involved but also for the broader discourse on public land use and the government's responsibility to its constituents, particularly those with deep historical and cultural connections to the land.